Hello, beautiful people. It's another brand new day, and I'm super excited that you tune into my podcast for today. Thank you so very much. I welcome you to this wonderful new week, and I trust that you're super set to achieve your goals and become the person of your dreams. And that's my intention, to ensure that you become a better version of yourself, to ensure that you get better on a daily basis. My mentor John C. Maxwell always say, the things we do daily determines if we become successful or not. And even go to the title Today Matters, to make us understand that each day, everything we do on a daily basis are what will determine how our life and the future we are expecting will be like. I also want to appreciate everyone who took our time to listen to my previous podcast when I talked about attracting the right catalyst. And I made us to understand that in order for us to be able to attract the right type of catalyst, we ourselves must become catalysts. What I mean is, we must become people that are willing to grow, people that are who have a mindset of change before we can attract this kind of person, because like always attracts like. A magnet can only attract a metal, something that has magnetic property inside. So a magnet cannot attract a wooden material, and that's impossible. So in order for us to be able to attract this type of people, there must be people that are willing to grow. We must become catalysts ourselves, people that do not just accept the status quo, but are willing to change situations, change events. And number one thing I told us about it is, one, we must know the area we want to grow in. Because not all catalysts in a chemical process, not all catalysts are suitable for all type of reactions, because some can affect the reaction negatively. So there are special type of catalysts that can be chosen in every reaction. So we must know the areas we want to grow in, and look out for those people that are in that niche, that we can pattern our lives so that can help us to become better and better. Number two, I talked about we need to be teachable. That teachability is something that mentors and coaches look at from their students. People that are willing to grow, they are prodigies. People that are open-minded, they are willing to learn something new. So in order for us to attract this kind of people, we must become teachable, we must become open and willing to learn. Number three, I talked about we need to be friendly, because on a day-to-day basis we meet people of various kinds, and you can never tell who can be your next catalyst to the future you desire. So you must be friendly to people, be willing to make friends, be willing to become people-oriented. You must become people-oriented. Tell yourself that on a daily basis, you try to compliment people. You never can tell who, because there's somebody out there that can just be the right catalyst you need for your success. Number four, I talked about to be appreciative. We need to appreciate the effort of this catalyst in our lives. So on today's podcast, I'll be talking about a beautiful topic titled Becoming a Person of Influence. Becoming a person of influence. Every one of us, we are being influenced on a daily basis. It's either we are the one influencing others, or others are influencing us. And so we must become deliberate. And my purpose is to make us understand and become deliberate on the type of influence we want to exert on those that are around us. The story was told about Dr. Mensa Otabi. And one day he was driving home, and it was already late, and there was traffic. There was a taxi man in front of him, and that taxi man took a turn, and he thought to himself, these taxi people, they are very conversant with the roads and the routes, and so if I follow this person, then I can get to my destination on time. And so that was what he did. He followed after the taxi man, and the taxi man, whenever the taxi man turns to the right, he goes to the right, turns to the left, he goes to the left, until finally the taxi man stopped his car and parked, and he parked in front of his house, and you could imagine what kind of journey Dr. Mensa Otabi has already done, the kind of mistake, because the taxi man himself never knew he was influencing somebody else. That's how it is with each and every one of us. We are influencing others either positively or negatively, and so we must become deliberate. What type of influence? We must ask ourselves, what type of influence do I want to exert on those around me? So it means we don't have a choice. It's either you are affecting people positively or negatively. You cannot be in between. So we must be careful and ask ourselves, what type of influence will I want to exert, and what kind of thing will I want to be known for? What difference can I make in my journey here on earth? So the question now is, what is influence? Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. I would like to repeat that. Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. That means every one of us, the capacity to have an effect on the character and development and behavior of others. Every one of us have this capacity to influence others. Whether you like it or not, you are very, very influential. And it is not a function of status, whether you are poor or you are rich, or you are just middle class or the average. Every one of us, we are influencing someone in one way or the other. As a father, you are influencing your children. As a boy or a teenager, you are influencing others as well, no peer pressure. So every one of us are influencing somebody in one way or the other. And so we must become deliberate and ask ourselves, what type of influence will I want to leave, and what type of footprint will I want to leave in the lives of others? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, influence means to affect or change someone or something in an indirect but usually important way. So sometimes it can be indirect, means you are not telling the person, I want to influence you today. No. You can, in your actions, the things you do, whether you like it or not, people are watching at you, and so they are influenced by what you are doing. And so you should not just be the one being influenced, but become very influential. Every interaction, conversation, reaction, attitude, and action you have has the potential to influence other people. Very true. Everything we do have the capacity to influence other people. So we must be very deliberate about it in order for this world to become a better place. Napoleon Hill once said, "Think twice before you speak, because your words and influence will plant the seed of either success or failure in the mind of another." We must, what we're just simply saying is, be deliberate. Ask yourself before you say anything, this thing I want to say, how will it impact others? How will it have an effect on others? So you must be very careful. And one of my mentors, John C. Maxwell, also said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. What he was just trying to say is this: in order to lead people, then you must be influential, making people do what you want them to do because they want to do it, not because you are coercing them, but because they want to do it. And that can only happen by what? Influence. So I would like to talk about 4 types of influence. Number 1, negative influence. The actions and attitude of this type of influence is most damaging. as the name implies, negative. It always makes people to do wrong, make people to do something that is evil, make people to do things that are not legal. For example, someone that is into drugs is influencing others to become a drug abuser just like him or her. So that's a negative influence. A thief will always is influencing someone else whether he knows or not. So that's a negative influence. Number 2, neutral influence. The actions and attitude of this type of influence tends to neither add nor take away from what those around are doing. What it simply means is this type of person is unaffected. I can say he's a follower. Does not have a will of his own. He just follows trends, follows whatever thing that is happening. His presence or absence does not really affect the team or the organization where he or she is. Number 3, positive influence. Someone with this type of influence adds value and leaves the people they come in contact with better off as a result of their actions and attitude. And this positive influence, this is what I really want every one of us to exert: positive influence, in order for this world to become a better and a wonderful place. They actively lead, build relationship with others. They inspire, coach, and lead people to produce better results. So people that have this type of influence, positive influence, they are very intentional and they have high level of energy and effort. But the results, in order for them to achieve the results they desire. So positive influence, they are intentional people. They want to add value. And for me as a person, I want to add value to humanity. I want to leave this world better off than when I met it. And that's why I'm deliberate about influencing people in order to become better and better and become a better version of themselves. Number 4, life-changing influence. Life-changing influence is about impacting someone in a way where their life is permanently changed as a result of what you have done or said. So life-changing. This kind of people, they have invested their life to serve others, and they leave their footprints in the sands of time. These are the people that leave their footprints in the sands of time. Even though they are dead and long gone, their impact on those they left behind spans from generation to generation. So the question now is, are you willing to be influential? What type of influence do you want to exert on those around you? Is it a negative influence, or maybe a neutral influence, or a positive influence, or a life-changing influence? You must ask yourself that question. And for me, I would like everyone listening to me today to influence others positively and also life-changing. Because the world is where it is now because of the few men and women who made up their minds to become positive influencers. So we cannot leave this world the way we met it. So the question now is, every one of what kind of influence do you want to exert? And why do you want to influence? It's simple. The major reason of influence is to make this world to become a better place. In order, whether you like it or not, people you are influencing somebody, people and event. So be willing and be ready to exert not only any type of influence, positive and life-changing influence on those that are around you. We can influence people, we can influence anywhere we are, in our work, our church, organization, anywhere we are, our friends, we can affect people in one way or the other. So we must become deliberate about it. And it is not a function of whether we are rich or we are poor. Anywhere you are, when you can start influencing, you have already started influencing. From the first day you came into this world, you have been influencing people. So you must become deliberate about that. On my next podcast, I'll be talking about ways on how we can become influential. And do well to stay tuned in